State, call your next witness, please.
State calls Shane Borja.
Shane Borja. Good afternoon. Mr. Borja, come all the way forward. All right, sir, if you please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Sir, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right, thank you, sir. This way. Watch your step, okay? You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. Can you see me over here?
Good morning.
Or good afternoon, I guess.
Yeah.
Could you please introduce yourself to our jurors and spell your name for the record?
I'm Shane Borja, Shane Borja.
Mr. Borja, what do you do for a living?
I drive semi-trucks.
And are you currently living here in Jacksonville, Florida?
No, ma'am.
Where do you live currently?
Kansas City, Kansas.
And we heard testimony from a woman named Jonelle Cruz. Who is that person to you?
She's my girlfriend.
And how long have you all been together?
About 5 years.
And were you together back in February of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And back in February of 2022, were you living here in Jacksonville, Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to talk to you about a night, February 16th, 2022. Do you remember that night?
Yes.
And were you in Jacksonville Beach that night?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the jury what it was you and Ms. Cruz were doing in Jacksonville Beach that night?
So I was returning, we just came from a motorcycle ride that day, and I was returning it to my friend. And yeah, that's when we left her house and then we took a back road and we came across the victim in his vehicle, blocking the road.
Your friend, does she live in the Jacksonville Beach area?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said you took a back route to get out. How did you know about that back route?
From my friend, she taken me through there, and I just memorized it. I don't know the street names or anything, but yeah, that's how I knew that route.
And who was driving that night?
Jonelle.
Were you directing her on which roads to take and where to turn?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that you came upon the victim's vehicle. Can you describe for the jury what you first noticed as being unusual when you approached the victim's vehicle?
Yeah, so we stopped and we saw the victim's vehicle blocking the road, and I got down to check what's going on. I thought maybe he needed some help fixing his tire because I saw a tire, and so I started approaching the victim in his vehicle, and I was calling out at first because it felt, something really felt like off because he was laying on the ground like motionless. So I was calling out to him, seeing if he needed help and stuff, and I didn't get no response. So that's when I turned around and told Jonelle to call the police.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions and go through that step by step. Can you look at the screen in the witness box? Do you see an image on your screen?
Yes.
This has been entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 4. Does this photograph give a good picture of what you saw when you approached the victim's vehicle that night?
Yes.
And going to State's Exhibit 33, does this picture appear to be the tire you saw in front of the victim's vehicle that night?
Yes.
Were there any other cars kind of backed up because the victim's vehicle was blocking the road?
Yes, there was one car in front of us.
And did you talk to the people inside the car?
No.
Did you see who was inside the car?
No.
Did they ever talk to the police that night like you did?
I'm not sure.
When you approached the victim's vehicle, well, how far away were your car and this car from the victim's vehicle?
Quite a ways. I'd say like maybe 2 bus lengths.
Okay. And as you approached the victim's vehicle, were you alone when you first approached?
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned that you saw someone lying on the ground. Can you describe for the jury how he was lying, his position?
Yeah, he was face down, like facing towards the driver's side of his vehicle. Yeah, just he was lying motionless in a pool of blood.
Was the driver's door open like it is in this picture?
Yes.
And were the flashers or hazard lights on?
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned now that you saw blood. Can you describe for the jury what you initially thought you were coming across?
Yeah, at first I thought it was, he was changing his tire or something, needed help, so I got down to try and help. And then when I saw the blood, that's when I thought that there was a car accident.
And did you look around to see if there were any other cars or people in the area that could have been involved?
Yes, that's when I started walking around the vehicle to see if there was another car in the woods, to see, if maybe someone else needed help, but I couldn't find anything.
You didn't see any other cars or any other people?
No, ma'am.
And then what did you do next?
I was just trying to figure out what's going on. I already knew the police were coming, so I was just trying to see, like, if there was an accident, like I said, and if someone needed help. And then I walked around the vehicle, and that's when I saw the little girl in the back seat.
Showing you it's been entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 35. Is this the interior of the victim's vehicle?
Looks like, I believe so.
Did you remove the little girl from a car seat in the back of the vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to removing her from the vehicle, you mentioned that you were calling out to the man on the ground. Did you hear any response from him while you were calling out?
I didn't get no response, but I did hear, like, I guess, like, the blood and, like, gurgling. Yeah.
He was not able to answer your questions or give you any information, though.
No, I knew that, like, I knew he wasn't there anymore. Like,
When you got the little girl out of the car, can you describe to the jury what her demeanor was like?
she was, like, panting, and she seemed very in shock, and she knew something happened to her father. She was saying, like, my daddy on the ground. I couldn't really make it out, but I knew she's trying to explain to me.
And what did you do with the little girl?
I just grabbed her, like, it was my only instinct was just to grab her, and, like, I just held her, and I was trying to comfort her as I brought her over to Jonelle.
Where did you go? After you gave the girl to Jonelle, where did you go?
I think I went back to the vehicle, and I still tried to do some of my own, like, investigation, but I was just trying to figure out what's going on because I didn't understand it. I didn't know. I was trying to see if he hit something and got in an accident, so that's what, yeah. And then I went back to my vehicle and waited.
Did you wait on scene until police arrived?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you speak to police on scene?
Yes, ma'am.
And then that night, as you were on your way home, did you return and go to the police station and give them a more kind of formal statement than the one you gave at scene?
Yes, ma'am.
Were there other bystanders on the scene by the time you left?
Yes, there were a few.
Police?
There were police and some civilians.
When you first walked up to the victim in his vehicle, were there any other civilians around that had seen what happened or that helped you out in those first few seconds?
No. Besides the car in front of us, it was just me.
And those people inside that car never got out?
No.
Prior to this case, did the name Mario Fernandez mean anything to you?
No, ma'am.
And prior to this case, did the name Jared Bridegan or Kirsten Bridegan or Bexley Bridegan mean anything to you?
No, ma'am.
Or the name Shanna Gardner
No, ma'am.
or Henry Tenon?
Who?
Yeah, I think that answers that. We have a moment with counsel, Your Honor.
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you, Mr. Borja.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
We have no questions for Mr. Borja. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Borja, may he be excused? Yes. Okay, thank you, Mr. Borja. You're excused. State, call your next witness.
State Car Sergeant Lawrence Smith.
Lawrence Smith.